Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. There are various bugs and issues with 3.9's branch of the game which need to be fixed in the short term, or at least some of them do. Some of these already have workarounds and fixes, which I want to go through here today, but I also want to talk about what needs to be fixed for a 3.9.1 patch, or fixed as soon as possible. We don't have Fleet Week yet. This is going to see a ship sale or promotions. We know that there's going to be a planned free flight at this point too, where people can try the game, whether or not they've bought a game package, as long as you've got an account. Fleet Week will be at some point in May, and it's suggested that there will be a 3.9.1 patch to coincide with it as well, which makes a lot of sense. There are a few issues in the current 3.9 build, which can be a little game-breaking, though a good amount have already been fixed. Let's talk about some of the workarounds and common issues, though. Alpha UEC loss and character reset. So there's been a lot of players that have not had their progress ported across from 3.8, more specifically their Alpha UEC, their in-game currency ported across, and CIG have now said that they are unable to restore any Alpha UEC that may have been lost with the launch of 3.9.0. They continue and have a little bit of a statement. While unwanted, this sort of event can happen during the alpha phase of development, particularly when building out our back-end services and infrastructure. Upon the launch of the 3.9 patch, we encountered various long-term persistence, wallet and database-related issues after our deployment. The result was players' wallets were left in a state with a different amount than what had been earned and expected from prior versions. We've deployed several fixes to address the playability of 3.9 and are actively continuing to address persistent Alpha UEC issues. In the meantime, players can expect a degraded Alpha UEC experience up to resetting the value to 0 after logging in after patching the game. We recommend not using the self-reset option to fix Alpha UEC issues at this time. It should only be used if your account is in a completely unplayable state, missing mobiGlass, no claimable ships, etc. Please note that RSI support staff do not have a way to full or complete character reset. The character reset options that we have within the RSI support are the same that players have using this option themselves, with the exception of bypassing the cooldown timer. If you are getting stuck on the character creation screen or crashing there, you should try restarting the RSI launcher, going into game options, and then set the game into windowed mode, then make your character, and then you can switch back to non-windowed mode to full screen mode, whatever, once you're back in game. That is a workaround for that. The service outages have been solved, at least according to the service status page. This was causing a lot of persistent universe issues. If you still have certain errors, especially the 16K7 errors, 16,007, crashes when logging in, and you've tried other fixes, invisible characters, missing mobiGlass, and missing ships, and none of the other fixes or workarounds are working, then and only then try resetting your account via the account settings section of the RSI website. These problems should be largely fixed now, though, or at least the original cause of them. CIG do need to get as stable as build as possible, though, if they're doing any form of free fly event in the near future. Deleting your user folder, or more precisely, your shader folder from your Robert Space Industries Star Citizen Live user directory is still recommended as a step, though, after you do any form of update. This can help with crashes, graphical glitches, and more. The character reset should only really be used as a final step if all other solutions don't work. We have various known issues and problems in the game at the moment as well. Duplicate static trains might appear in Lorville or New Babbage and around the verse. Ground vehicles cannot be spawned at outposts at the moment, but are still spawnable at Levski, Lorville, and New Babbage. There's occasional weird points of interest spawning, like you'll have a derelict or a salvage post spawning in the middle of space or above a planet. Players can become stuck when jumping over some railings, and ships can hit or teleport if you're observing the motion from other people as well. Some missions are a bit broken. For example, missions that require you to scan probes and skimmers. They don't spawn enemies, it seems, or at least you can't detect the skimmers. I think it literally doesn't spawn them. Some of the ECN missions, like with the Rescued Starfarer, it will circle endlessly after all the waves are cleared and not progress. So some mission accessibility problems. Crashing might prevent you from using your prison multi-tool, which is obviously annoying if you want to mine. There is some desync issues still, but much less than 3.8's, but any desync is annoying. There are 30k server disconnects and crashes that still happen. So 30k errors are a blanket term for a disconnect or by the client or the server that you might experience, and because it's such a blanket term for a load of them, people often get them and say, when are you going to fix this at 30k errors? It's quite a lot of errors, but anytime you get disconnected, typically it will give you a 30k error of some sort. The more stable Star Citizen can get, the better before any form of free flight when you're, opening the floodgates to a load of new players that will want accessibility and to be able to play the game. It doesn't matter if it's buggy necessarily when you're in and playing, as long as it doesn't obscure the basics of getting in the game, getting around. If you can't do anything because your account's locked down, because you keep on crashing, because you keep on getting disconnected, that's when there's a major issue. Some ships literally get carried off by the wind at the moment and flipped over even when they're landed. There are some more minor issues as well, like airlock doors, outposts sometimes lack collision. The Cutlass Best in Show version has an opaque canopy, and I think they're giving people Cutlass Blacks as loaners for that. Players can have problems with their prison suits, sort of like still being on their character even when they respawn after they've cleared prison. A large party can cause party markers to fail to appear when you're inside a ship, which is actually a little annoying. Players sometimes can't see through the scopes of some of the weapons in the game. FOIP animations are not transmitting properly to other players nearby. And I suppose sometimes you will have FOIP on and you don't realise it, and that will suck up a load of frame rate. And that's probably more of a major one, actually. Frame rates are lower in this version, in 3.9 at the moment. And that's because of a lot of back-end service problems, but obviously there's some issues in the 3.9 build, which are probably quite easily solvable with a mini patch, which are causing some performance issues. Some boxes can be left behind after ships explode, and they can blink in and out while players are moving around. The player in the thought system and interaction system is offset in widescreen resolutions, as is some of the other stuff, occasionally, generally the mobiGlas and stuff on the star map. Autopilot seems to not disengage properly after being triggered by no-fly zones, and the heavy suit can sort of block portions of the mobiGlas as well, with your arm when it comes up. So some of these known issues are really quite obstructive to play if you're experiencing them and experiencing them regularly. But sort of making sure players can get around the verse, missions are accessible, and players can interact and play with each other, and play is not blocked. And it doesn't matter if bugs occasionally occur, but if you can get a 2-hour play session at a time without a major issue, great. That's the sort of stability that Cloud Imperium should be looking for a minimum for a playable new release build, in my opinion. We know there's going to be general fixes for 3.9.1, and it's going to contain the P72 Emerald skin variant. For free flight and the sort of Fleet Week stuff, we know that there's probably going to be some form of ship sale, potentially some other new ships, and it's been rumoured that there's going to be at least skins for a load of the military ships in game, some free flight week stuff for that, and there's been lots of talk about the F8 Lightning being part of that sale in some way. We'll have to wait and see if that is true or a rumour. There was a little post on Spectrum as well from CIG Duncan replying to a thread about removing auto kick for friendly fire in Arena Commander's free flight mode, as players might be messing around or practicing with that. He said, "Thanks for posting this, definitely not intentional for people to be auto-kicked. Funnily enough, the game mode parameter for kicking players in free flight has been there since 2.6, but because it was tied into the scoring module, it was never checked, as scoring isn't in free flight. However, I've been refactoring the scoring, which has basically turned this on by accident. He's going to disable friendly fire checks for free flight, and it should be ready for 3.9.1. You should probably add the RSI support page, so support.robertspaceindustries.com, the telemetry page, and the service status pages to your favourites, as the info on there will help you lots. Also, reporting bugs on the issue council will help you and others. I'll link all of those down below. You can also see there if there's any sort of really regular bugs that people are reporting a lot of, and how easy they are to replicate, as a bit of an indication for what your mileage for a certain patch for Star Citizen is going to be. So it's always worth, I always check every day I go on Star Citizen for a long period of time on the issue council, just to see what sort of are there any new issues that have been replicated, lots to see if it's going to affect me, and I go, well, I can actually avoid that if I try and do it this way. I hope that was helpful. I do have a guide on sort of Star Citizen performance and Windows 10 sort of general performance, which I will link down below on my website as well, so check those out. I'll also get a general tips and performance guide, I suppose, up in the very near future, because lots of people have been asking for that. I'm interested to know, do you have any workarounds for 3.9 at the moment, beyond waiting for another patch? What are your experiences with 3.9 at the moment? Did you lose a lot of stuff? Are you quite happy with what's going on? Are you just farming Quantanium and you're like, I get loads of money legitimately. It's all good. What do you think we'll see during Fleet Week? Do you think we'll see the F8 Lightning on sale or not? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway. For May, we're giving away a Star Citizen game package with Arrow Light Fighter. All you've got to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details below. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them or use the code BoredGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care and I'll see you in the verse.